My name is Minister Buquilla Ervin Cannon. I am a product of North Florence community. I grew up in North Florence. I grew up around the elders in the village that always reach out and try to make this world a better place for me and for my children and their children. When I was coming up, we had neighborhood moms that watched out for one another's children. When your parents were working, neighborhood moms watched out for you. You knew that you had that support. It was the village concept. And it is so important that we stress that today. That's what Vice President Harris said. It is time that we remember from whence we come. We cannot forget about the roots. We cannot forget about those shoulders that we're standing on. Today, we are talking to different women from different aspects of society about what this day means to them. Why this day is so important. I say to you, this will go down in history. Our children, children's children, their children, and their children will be able to read about this and say that pecan, caramel, dark-skinned women of all different sizes like me can be what they want to be. I charge you today to don't let this day go by without talking to the children, to the young people in your family. That's why we're here today. We have select women out here in this COVID-19 pandemic. We're doing all the necessary precautions. I have been in exile since March, but today the Lord said it is time. So I came out today to do this video with women of courage to talk about what they saw happen at 12 noon today in Washington, D.C., in these United States of America. I'll be coming back to you.
My sentiment is that I see God work. Luke 1:37 tells us there's nothing impossible for God. And being a minister and a teacher of Christian education, I tell my 7th and 8th grader all the time, as well as my daughter, that God is a prayer answering God. God has selected Kamala Harris as an example of He does not have no respect of person. He will use anybody. And I see her as a woman of God, of color, showing that God has no respect of person. He will use anyone to bring about freedom, to deliver His word, to set us free. Women have no excuse for standing in the shadow or staying behind closed doors saying there's nothing that I can do. God has made a way and given us a voice. And as educators, we need to teach our girls to reach for the stars. God wants us to go beyond the clouds, reach for the sky. I see her breaking barriers that we can do anything. We can do anything. Even though my daughter may have a disability, God used her voice. We need to sound out that God has no respect of person, sex, race. It doesn't matter whether you're white, black, or green, yellow. God can use anyone. And I thank God for Kamala Harris displaying those Christian values. She talks about those. She have daughters. She talk about we women, we need to stand up and be about the work of God. Not just staying home washing dishes, taking care of children. We need to be a model for them. Let them know that we need to get an education. They need to know that God will keep His promise. And I thank God and I stand on it that He is a mighty, mighty God. I thank Him for Kamala Harris and President Biden. They both are God-fearing people.
It's not good because young women and children need to be strong and listen to their moms and dad. And that's it.
And it feels good because we often tell our children when they're reading the history books that we see nothing but white people, but now we see black people. A young black girl was the first one to give an inauguration speech today, very articulated. She did an excellent job. I was told she wrote that after she saw the riot that took place on January 6th. God have gifted us. We have no excuse for selling out on God. God have not shortchanged black people, black women. We have no excuse. You can get an education anytime. God is just almighty. And when we say that it's good because we get to see it. We get to see history being made in our lifetime. We get to become the storytellers that tell our story, how God brought us over. Not just Dr. King anymore. We got a story to tell that God has no respect for person, no color. To God be the glory. I see God work when we got our first black mayor. First. And she's a black female. I just see God empowering us because black women has been praying on their knees for a long time for their families, and I see that He have empowered us to step out. Like you say, Stacey Adams, and Joe Biden will even tell you it's because of the blacks in South Carolina that he even got to run for president. We put him back in the force. Black women's got out, beat the Bush. Stacey Adams was a strong deliverer. Our mayor, Ervin, strong working woman, and she didn't get there just by voting. She worked her way up there. She watched diligently, she studied, and she showed herself mighty. And again, I would say that God is empowering us to be ourselves. We don't have to worry about the tradition saying that we have to stay home barefooted and pregnant in the kitchen. We can hold the highest office, second highest office, vice president, for
right.
Vice President Harris, that you can't get any better than that. And one day, I believe I live to see the first black president female. To God be the glory.
Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, I was tearful. Actually, I was crying. I stood as if I was in the audience. I even raised my right hand when they asked for her to raise her right hand to swear to do whatever it was I could to defend the Constitution of this United States, to make it such that it would apply and work for all people, in particular my people. I thought of my mother, who has been gone over 20 years, but had instilled in me over 60 years ago that if I worked hard, I did what was right, that I could grow up to be whatever it is I wanted to be, including President of the United States. That was 60 years ago that she told me that I could do that. My ambitions didn't lead me in that political arena, but it was to see Madam Vice President Kamala Harris be sworn in as the Vice President of these United States was like my mother's dream coming true, and a dream for me to be able to live to see it. It is, sometimes it's beyond words to explain in a country where, and I love my country, but as it's been said before, my country hasn't always loved me or shown that love to me. And yet I still am hopeful for my granddaughter and for my grandsons to be able to fully realize the full citizenship of these United States. It's amazing. I spent the time today in text with some of my high school friends. We graduated from an all-girls high school in Baltimore, Maryland. That's where I'm from. And so to spend the time with them, we felt, even though we're in our 60s, late 60s, we felt like we were teenagers and experiencing this. It was a wonderful time. It is a hopeful time. It is not a time that can erase the past and the recent past, nor is it a time that will have us so naive for the future that to expect that things will be changing right away. But it does give us hope. And as a black person and as a black woman, to think about the possibilities that we can work for. And I have this saying about some things, is that when I am striving for something, if I don't make it and someone has to stand over me and speak a few words for me, if they don't say anything else, say that she was striving to reach her goals. She may not have made it on this side, but she sure was striving. And that's how I feel about what's going to be happening. We have to continue to strive to be the very best that God would have us to be. And that includes as individuals, as community, as a nation, and as a world. I'm excited. I'm, like I said, and I'm not naive to think that everything is going to be changing before the end of this day, let alone tomorrow morning. But I do believe that there is some crack in the sky of darkness that reflects and lets us know that there's still a light shining, and we can continue to move towards the light. And I'm excited. I'm excited about what this can mean if we take it to heart, to do the hard work. It wasn't easy for Vice President Kamala Harris to get where she is today. We don't know her whole story, but she didn't just come out of the darkness into this position. She walked through it. She worked through it. She dealt with people, her own people, talking negative about her or trying to block her. And especially, I mean, not especially in terms of her own people, but men in the profession that she came through as a prosecutor. And no, she didn't always do what was popular. And if we do it right, much of what we do will not be popular with people if we do it right. But she was steadfast. And as there's a scripture that says, and therefore, brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. You will find that your work in the Lord will not be in vain. 1 Corinthians 15 and 58. So, we have to keep moving, keep striving, keep loving. I'm thinking, no, most of us will never reach that particular position. But we can certainly bloom in the part of the vineyard where we have been planted. We can work in the part of the vineyard with the vines and the grapes, the fruit, all of that, where we have been planted. And that means working in our communities, starting in our homes. We can start in our homes, teaching how to love each other, working outside of our homes, in our neighborhoods, with our children. I called a young poet laureate, Amanda Gorman, I think her name is, Amanda Gorman, my daughter. I look at my children around here in this neighborhood, and then our churches, and then our schools. I used to be a substitute teacher in the middle school. People say the middle school. I said, oh yeah, I love them. I love them. In a predominantly black middle school, I loved them. Still love them. Still see my babies out here. And as a substitute teacher, for them to remember me, and for me to remember them, let them know I love them. I shared with young Amanda Gorman, young sister, young daughter. I look at her as my daughter. I look at our children as my children. And I think if we start looking at our children and our neighbors, and like our sisters and brothers, and I may be wrong, but I'll say this, you may have to cut this one out, but I'll say it. Up and down this East Coast, whether we come from Maryland, whether we're in South Carolina, whether we're in Florida, if we were to go through Ancestry, AfricanAncestry.com or whatever, chances are most of us have come from same tribe, if not the same tribe. Most of us have come from the same area of the west coast of Africa when they brought our ancestors. They took our ancestors. When they took our ancestors and brought them in those ships across the ocean, what we call the Middle Passage, and enslaved them, we all blood. And so when I see my sister and my brother, I address you as my sister or my brother. If I don't know you, we don't have to be blood, but we are blood. I claim it. And so I'm gonna do what my mama taught me to do. Again, as long as I can remember, treat people the way you want to be treated, no matter what. And I ain't never met anybody that wanted to be lied to, cheated on, depressed, oppressed, kept down, pressed down. Never met anybody that wanted to do that. I've always met people who wanted to be loved and treated with respect. That's what I'm gonna do. So this day, again, to me, and as you see, I'm not speechless, but I am overjoyed. I am overjoyed that the Lord let me live long enough to see it. And so while my mother did not even get a chance to see the inauguration of President Barack Obama, but she always believed that one day we would have a black president, she didn't get a chance to see it. I thank God my dad did. But I take this today to relish that now a black woman is sitting in the second highest seat in this nation. And while she may not be able to do a whole lot of what we or people would want her to do, if she does her best, she will have an impact. So my granddaughter, who's been accepted into Howard University, is in the number and has a chance. And I think too can look at this as nothing can stop us if we keep moving forward. People may try. And as the young sister said in her poem today, it may be delayed, but it will not be defeated. And scripture tells us that as well. So I'm excited, still excited, dressed up, and I'm not in a sorority or anything, honey, but I got my pearls, I got my chucks, and I had my glass of wine too before I left home.
Exactly.
Okay, and enjoyed myself, enjoyed the day. And so I'm going to walk around today with a smile. I always have a smile anyway, but they'll be able to see the smile through the mask in the eyes. So, bless you. I thank you for thinking about me.
Oh, it was the only choice.
Well, I thank you for thinking
It was the
about
only
me.
choice. I knew who I wanted on this production.
Mm.
So, Minister.
So you'll let me know when we'll be able to see it?
Yep.
Okay.
And then you sign a release because I'm gonna try
Okay.
to put it. I'm putting it out, everywhere
Okay.
as a symbolic ratification of today. And for smaller children, I'm trying to get it here at the library so that smaller children can see and can watch the elders of the village encourage and instill into them what qualities they have so that they can draw upon that
Amen.
fire.
Because it ain't, it's not where you're born into anything special except knowing that you are special.
That's it.
Knowing that
You got
are,
to feel it within.
Yes.
That's it.
But it's not only feeling it within, is also people instilling it in you to tell you that you are special, to tell you that you are loved, to tell you. That's what I loved about being in Williams, and I could tell them that I love you. I expect something from you.
Yes.
And when I ask them, I see them out here, I say, "What you doing?"
Yeah.
What? And they be glad to see me because they know I got a good word or a positive word or an encouraging word or a pat on the back, a word of encouragement. They're beautiful. You look good. Glad to see you. That's how I am. I love us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I love us.
Yes.
And I'll be honest, I didn't always appreciate us.
Yes.
I didn't always appreciate us, but now I get to where it don't really matter. I appreciate you because I know that even with where you may not be where society would want you to be or where it's a struggle out here for us.
That's it.
Us gotta struggle all the time. I learned, Mama say, treat people the way you want to be treated. You gotta be twice as good as anybody else. I've seen, and anybody else with white people. But she used to say, I tell you what though, you ain't no better than nobody else, but you just as good as everybody else.
That's it.
And that's what helped me be able to be the only one of me sitting in rooms.
That's it.
Not only the only woman, but the only black in the room.
That's it. That's it.
And so I'm excited about it. And I love you. I love the work you do.
And the thing is about all of this is that there will be those dark-skinned girls, pecan-colored girls, caramel-colored girls, light-skinned girls, but all of them will have gifts.
Come on here.
That they will bring to the table. All of them are gold. They're diamonds.
Yes.
And they're here for a purpose. So despite me being a woman, a well-figured woman,
come on here.
I used to look at myself. I said, God, I need to lose. But listen, when I do it, I'm doing it for my health, not for what somebody said about me.
Thank you.
And that's what I'm trying to get.
The image that somebody, or image of what someone says is perfection.
That's right. That's right.
The image of what someone else says is beautiful.
That you need to be in order to be accepted by society. That's their standards and should not be yours. They should not be yours.
And so, prayerfully, and that's one of the things too that I'm looking into pursuing.
Yeah.
Is so doing some life coaching and also some wellness coaching, more than physical.
Much needed.
But personal acceptance of self.
That's it. Because this is the reason why the suicide rate is so high.
And the abuse,
allowed
abuse.
We have never seen suicide rate this high in the black and brown community. And it's all because the bullying at school, physical and sexual abuse, incest, we need to speak it just like it is.
Yes, ma'am.
It has been a hidden secret in our society. But now it is time. We have Kamala Harris standing there.
I'm telling you.
Taking the oath today. Yes. So now we know that it is a possibility
with a
of
brown
all.
justice, a brown Supreme Court justice administering that oath.
You see what
And
I'm saying?
Justice Sotomayor is
Did you see her?
to be a brown, full-figured
Full-figured.
Supreme Court justice. And I say brown because she's Latina.
She's Latina.
But
she
to
is-
stand and administer the oath to a black/Asian
That's right.
woman
That's right.
to be inaugurated into the position of Vice President of the United States.
Thank you.
That picture there.
God, got chills when that.
Come on
down my
here.
spine,
Come
honey.
on here.
Got chills.
That's what I'm talking about. We've got to be able to recognize this, not only the historical significance, but the beauty.
The beauty of it.
The beauty of it.
Lord have mercy.
That's why I was crying.
Yes, the tears was flowing, honey.
Come on here.
Tears was flowing, God. I had me a poodle right in my
Come
bed,
on
honey.
here.
Lord said,
Yes, ma'am. It was wonderful.
It was wonderful.
I'm thankful
Oh
that
my
God
God.
allowed me to live long enough
To see it. To see it.
to see it.
I'm gonna close it out. We had what, 3? That was good. I'm gonna close it out.
You gonna
With-
sit? You gonna sit?
I think I'm gonna stand, sis, because I might start running. Tell me when you're ready. As I reflect upon the 2 previous speakers and what they brought to this production, I truly thank God for them. I thank God for them being who they are, coming from where they come from, and standing on the shoulders of those elders in the village. I stand today for every woman that is a lifer in prison for stealing a piece of bread to feed her family and receive 20 and 30 years for such a minor misdemeanor. And I'm standing for the children that are suffering from mental illness due to sexual abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, bullying. So we women today on this production are standing for those children. I am standing for prison reform, for social justice, women equity. I have served in the health career for almost 40 years, and we still are dying more than any other race in the United States. We have no access to health care. And now, where there used to be empathy in the medical field, and they would see you, the first thing that they ask you when you go in, do you have the money for your bill? You have a past due amount. So in order to see the physician, you need to pay the past due amount first. And if you don't have it, they will reschedule the appointment. We're dying. We're dying. We're living, our children and our families are living in food deserts where they don't know where the next meal is coming from. They're going to work hungry. They're getting paid the minimum wage, and they can't even pay their bills. Thousands of African American businesses will not be able to reopen after COVID-19 because the loss of equity in their business. They lost everything. These are stories that I hear every day. I am pleading that we come together as a community. Stop worrying about what he or she got. but work together to unify what we have, our gifts that we bring to the table to make these communities across the world a better place. I summon the mothers out of the community. I know you're tired going to the graveyards. I know you're tired burying your children. Please stop the violence in our community. Stop killing one another. It was a time where we could blame somebody else, but that's not the issue all the time. We are killing each other. We are killing each other. Young people shot and killed in the prime of their lives. Yes, yes, law enforcement is involved. Yes, they're killing us. And now we have more killings since George Floyd than we had before.
Yeah.
Because they're mad. They're angry because we pulled the curtains back and we're able to see what they're really about. And what disturbs me is that they don't see anything wrong with what they're doing. They don't see anything wrong with what they're doing. And you got families that are being wiped out because of violence, law enforcement. And we're thinking, well, that's behind us. But look how it's reared its ugly head again. What are we going to do? Today, the first month of the year of 2021, we have hope. We have hope. We have a president that knows what prison reform needs to be done, social justice, health care. We got 400,000 people that have died of COVID-19. Families, entire families wiped out. We got to do something to turn this around. So my final words to you is that we work together. We unify our communities. Starting next month, we're launching a whole new project, and we need everybody involved. And we need not just the ones that think they know everything, but the ones that have a voice in the wilderness. We appreciate you, and I love you with my white pearls on. I love what happened today, but I know there's more work to do. Are you willing to stand? And I know change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will.